Welcome to World's Wildest.
Hello.
The nature podcast where we don't have an intro.
That was a good intro. Hello.
Hello. We hear you guys like when Connor says hello like that.
Yep.
So we'll keep doing that.
Yes.
If this is your first podcast, hello, my name is Maya. I am the executive director of an animal sanctuary in Austin, Texas. I have some falconry experience. I've got some mammal experience, some wildlife rehabilitation experience, and I love bugs.
My name's Connor. I'm the director of operations at her sanctuary.
Alvea Sanctuary.
Alvea Sanctuary. And I've got 5 years of veterinary vet tech experience, lots of wildlife experience, conservation technology, lots of other stuff in the field as well. And I have a question for everybody in the comments. Do you want fast intros where we get to the topics quickly, or do you want us to talk about random stuff in the beginning? What do you prefer? Let us know in the comments so we can adjust.
Would you like a little yapathon? What day does this episode come out? Is it New Year's? Oh, Happy New Year, everybody. New Year. I don't know if it's the second. Wait, no. You would be hungover on the first.
I mean, if you go really hard, be hungover on the second.
You might even be hungover on this. If you're still hungover, congratulations.
Good job.
You're welcome to participate in this episode because it is world's most inebriated.
And not just alcohol, other things as well.
Drugs.
Yeah. That happens.
Welcome to your nature education science podcast. Connor and I are going to be talking about some of the animals, some of the most extreme animals on Earth that like to party hard, you know?
Really, really hard. And we're going to party after this, and we're going to get inebriated as well and watch your first run through of The Lion King for the first time on Patreon. Maya's never seen it, and I don't know how she can call herself an animal person if she hasn't seen The Lion King.
Yes, people have been very mad at me about that for a long time.
We're going to fix it.
If you would like to watch me watch The Lion King for the first time while you also watch The Lion King with us, subscribe to the Patreon. It'll be fun. We're going to have cozy movie night. We're going to have popcorn and snacks. It'll be a good time. And beer.
And just beer.
And drugs. We have a great time over on the Patreon, and it's ad-free.
That's true.
Go check us out over there.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'm going to start us off really strong here.
Okay.
Cocaine sharks.
That's great. I love cocaine bears. Cocaine sharks, even better.
Yeah.
Sequel to the movie.
Well, actually, there are quite a few of those movies. Great segue. In 2023, there was a movie released. It does have 1.8 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
What's the Rotten Tomato score? Probably amazing, I bet.
You can look it up.
I will look it up.
Rotten Tomatoes Cocaine Shark 2023.
Cocaine bear?
Cocaine Shark.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the bear movie.
No.
I didn't know. Okay.
Cocaine Bear was great.
You watched it?
They did a great job.
Okay. Continue. I'm working on it.
Okay. So in 2023, there was a movie released called Cocaine Shark. I actually have the trailer, and we can watch it together. This is not educational. It's just important context, I feel. 51% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's fine.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's the trailer.
Okay.
Audio listeners.
I was working for a kingpin named Garisco.
Buckle up and use your imagination.
What was that?
Big campaign, HT25. The serum started failing.
What is this?
Resulting in freaks of nature.
It's a good edit.
Oh my! What the heck is that?
Admit it's good.
Is it anime mixed with?
It's a shark.
Change of plans. Change of plans because of the lab explosion. Missing test animals.
We had an accident at the lab, an explosion.
Oh my God,
Maya! Specimens were either destroyed in
that explosion was sick.
Or escaped.
What am I? That animation. Wait, he jumped in the water? What am I watching? Is that claymation?
I saw something in the water. I think it was a shark.
Cocaine shark.
That was insane.
You know the craziest thing about that trailer is it was made last year.
It's claymation of the shark.
It's a 2023 film. Look, they did what they could with the budget that they had, and I respect that.
How did they get 51 on Rotten Tomatoes?
Because it's probably a good movie. Maybe we should watch it on the Patreon. Let us know if you want us to watch it on the Patreon. Because I will.
Reviews.
Oh.
No, please. I would.
It was the 4 producers. Okay, so the movie Cocaine Shark is about a lab experiment that goes wrong, and then like a bunch of I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The point is, they were onto something because in 2024,
Okay.
they found cocaine in sharks.
Yep.
So there was a documentary made in 2024 called Cocaine Sharks. Not
Well-
Cocaine Shark. That's the
Oh,
movie.
okay.
The documentary is called Cocaine Sharks. And a shark expert, Tom Hurd, travels to the Florida Keys to investigate what happens with sharks who come into contact with cocaine. So in the summer of 2024, there were biologists in Brazil. They dissected 13 wild sharp-nosed sharks.
Oh, I saw this article. That's where. I
Yeah,
remember
it was
from. Okay.
huge, like
Yeah.
huge media. It's on every news outlet ever. They all tested positive for cocaine in their muscles and livers. This is what a sharp-nosed shark looks like. They're small sharks. Okay, it's like
Cute.
it's a woman holding one in her hand. Like they're
Like a
little,
foot.
but it looks like a classic shark shape,
Right.
just miniature.
Yeah. Very cute.
So all of them tested positive for cocaine in their muscles and livers. And
Sad.
pretty high levels of cocaine. Low levels, but high enough to where they knew it was indicative of chronic exposure.
Right.
So it was like, a significant finding, I guess.
And yeah, they're out there doing lines. Is that what they're doing?
Well, no. So yeah, how is there cocaine in all these sharks?
Right.
Why are they all doing lines all of a sudden? What popular media is influencing them to start doing cocaine and be cool like that? It's actually involuntary.
Sad.
So there are a few theories for how they get cocaine in their system. Number
Right.
one, narco traffickers being chased in the high seas, they'll toss bales of cocaine overboard.
Okay.
It's a way to get it. Cocaine is getting in the ocean that way.
Sure.
Undeniable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The quantities, though, it doesn't make a ton of sense unless the shark is right under there and they just get bombed by like a bale of cocaine.
Could they eat it though?
For the record, okay, so funny that you bring that up. They did a Shark Week special in 2023 where they tested if they would eat it.
Oh.
So they put out dummy cocaine bales into the ocean to see if
Oh.
sharks would bite them.
Okay.
And they did.
Oh.
The sharks did investigate the dummy bales of drugs.
Right.
But that's still probably not
Right.
how it's getting
It's
in all
very-
of the shark systems.
Right. It's like one or two here and there.
Right. The main source probably is human use of cocaine in urine and feces
Oh.
discharge into the ocean. And then also maybe from illegal refining labs. But yeah, it goes through our poop and pee into the ocean because our filtration systems are not.
Great.
Yeah, they're not good enough to capture that.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta get the toxin out because it is a toxin.
Yeah.
So it goes
So-
out that way.
So
Interesting.
all of these sharks and also lots of other cocaine's been found in a lot of other sea creatures like eels and mollusks and crustaceans and stuff. And in eels, it affects their hormones, so it's harder for them to mate. And in sharks, it's kind of unclear how it affects them.
Right.
Yet behaviorally, don't think sharks are out there like they're it's unclear how they're affected behaviorally. They're not like high on coke and like running around like crazy
Rampage,
people. Yeah, they're
right,
not on
yeah.
like coke rampages or whatever that's called. But this is a much bigger conversation. I think the headline is huge, obviously.
Right.
Like literally every news source ever has talked about the cocaine sharks.
Right.
But it's a much bigger conversation about what we're doing to our oceans and like the ways that things can get into our oceans. Because I think when people think about pollutants in oceans, they're like, oh, don't litter.
Right.
Which
the
right.
plastics, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't. That sucks. And there are islands of trash in the ocean that are affecting oceanic life. But there's so much more than that. Like I would never think about drugs going through our urine into
Right.
the ocean enough to levels enough to where you could find cocaine in sharks.
Biomagnification for sure. And like, how quickly does cocaine break down in the ocean? We need to study that a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But also, what can filter it out? What's going to capture it? And then, I mean, we need to stop putting waste into rivers
Yeah.
anyway. It's the cheapest option to do that. But like, if we're talking cocaine, imagine like prescription drugs.
Yeah. So in 2007, they found bull sharks in Florida that had been contaminated with prescription medications via failed sewage systems. And then there's tons of marine life that's affected by pesticide runoff too.
Right.
And fertilization runoff,
Yep,
right?
big time.
Algal blooms are a huge thing as well.
Red tide is bad.
Yeah, there's just so many things that are getting into our ocean that goes so far beyond like plastic bags and stuff, which are also, I'm not saying that those are less bad. It's just something that people don't think about often enough. So this has been a really interesting topic for me to research because I was like, wow, there's just so much that you don't think about. So one thing to think about going forward in protecting our oceans, prescription drugs, prescription medications, do not throw them away and do not flush them down the toilet. I feel like a lot of people do that because
Where
they
you
don't know
take 'em?
how to dispose of them, huh?
Where do you take them?
Go ask your pharmacist. My pharmacist gives me like dissolving packets. I have not used one yet, but gave me dissolving packets to put in expired prescription bottles,
Right.
and then I'm supposed to bring them back to the pharmacist.
Interesting.
I don't know.
That's cool.
Ask your pharmacist how to properly dispose of your prescription medications. Do you have a different strategy?
No, I
Oh.
didn't know that. I don't often deal with prescription stuff.
Yeah.
It's expired. I just throw it in the trash.
Connor!
I'll have to fix that now. But like even like ibuprofen?
I would just ask your pharmacist, probably. It's probably better to
Okay.
dispose of it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got like special bio bags.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, don't flush your prescription medications. Don't flush drugs. I don't care if your mom's gonna find it. Let her find it.
Don't do
It's
it.
you or the sharks. Okay. And number 3, don't do cocaine
Yeah.
because it'll go into the ocean via
expensive.
your pee. So if you needed one reason to stop doing cocaine, it's this.
Sharks.
It will go through your pee into the ocean, and you will be spiking sharks with cocaine water.
And the crazy thing is like we don't know what it's doing to them. I've heard hypothesis that it's affecting their migration if they are migrating and their energy levels, but there's no way to really test that because there's no ethical way to do that in a lab. You just
Right.
want to start dosing up sharks
With coke,
with
yeah.
coke. I mean that's
It's a hard
I'm
thing
sure
to study.
yeah. So you got to put trackers on them and try. And like we've got so much other stuff going on. Like we don't need to waste money on trackers for that. Like we need to put it into other issues. So I think the other thing I would say is push, especially if you're around waterways, push your city council and your state to have better wastewater management systems,
Filtration
well.
systems.
and like hurricane proof it too, because like hurricanes come in, destroy it all, and release it all, and then it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Quiz time.
Quiz.
Is it about drugs?
No, it's about the waterways.
Oh,
Okay.
What is the longest river in the U.S. and in the world?
Wait, what? In
I want to say Mississippi, but that feels like a really obvious answer. So I'm
That
gonna
is
say
incorrect. Yeah.
the longest river in the world is in the U.S. I don't know why I
No.
buzzed in.
It doesn't mean that they have to be the same.
Oh, I thought it was asking for the same body of water. So there's 2 answers.
Yes.
The longest river in the U.S. is blank, and the longest river in the world is blank.
Yes.
The longest river in the U.S. is it the Colorado River?
No.
Tragedy for both of us.
I
We're
was gonna say
stupid.
Colorado.
Stupid.
Oh.
What is it?
The Missouri.
What the heck is that?
It is 100 miles longer than the Mississippi River at 2,341 miles.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, and the longest river in the world? I feel like it's a trick question. I want to say the Nile. Is it not?
It is the Nile.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah. Nice.
great.
Have a point. Very nice.
Great. Guys, next time your friend says, "Hey, you want to bump?" Say no, because I care about our oceans.
For the sharks. Respect. Well, I've got some more. What? Cocaine's an opioid, right? No, I don't actually know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, there goes
Is cocaine an opioid producer?
there goes my segue. Regardless.
Should I call all my friends that do a bunch of cocaine
Wait, what?
and ask them?
Yeah, sure.
No, go
Let
ahead.
me know
Okay,
who
I'll
that
let you
is.
know.
So let's talk about wallabies. So wallabies were blamed for crop circles. This is a real headline. Producer, I know you're looking up what cocaine is, but could you pull up the headline for wallabies blamed for crop circles?
What?
In 2009, wallabies in Tasmania were seen hopping around in circles, trampling crops. Locals were confused by these random circles popping up in the field and called local officials. And this is from NBC, a real headline. So these crop fields that they were hanging out in, making crop circles, were opium grade poppy fields. So their normal food sources, just grasses and other vegetations, were not available at this time of year. And the wallabies and other wildlife wandered into these poppy fields, started eating them, and got high as heck. Super, super high. So they were seen, the locals reported a bunch of wallabies, deer, sheep, and other wildlife acting weird. They were hyperactive, jumping around again in circles. And then, a little bit later, they crashed out and just fell asleep right where they were. So these animals, they relocated the animals and then worked on building better fences around there to keep them out.
Sad.
Tasmania supplies 50% of the world's raw material for morphine and other opioids.
Oh.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So keep the wallabies away from poppy plants.
The opioid fields.
Yeah, like you get like the poppies, like poppy seed bagels. Those poppy seeds come from opioids, right?
Baby.
Nice.
Yeah, if you would have to eat like insane quantities, I hear, to like.
Is that why they're so addictive though? There's just a little bit of.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But isn't there something? If you like pee in a cup after, isn't that like kind of sketchy? If you eat a bunch of poppy seeds or you eat like a poppy seed muffin that morning or something. I'm spreading misinformation. Sorry. That's not what this podcast is for.
Interesting. No, I didn't know that. All right, my other one. Magical reindeers with magical mushrooms.
Okay.
So reindeer / caribou will feed on hallucinogenic mushrooms in the wild.
Brave.
This
Very
is in
brave.
like Scandinavian countries. We have
audio listeners, we have a real photo here of a reindeer tripping on mushrooms. It's psychedelic. Yeah, it's very cool.
A scientist wrote in an article or a paper that he believes that these reindeer enjoy having an altered state of mind and can be seen, quote unquote, flying.
Okay.
And there's some really old documentary footage of them just like running around, like jumping, really weird. But I can.
And they think that they're flying.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
That's us anthropomorphizing. But I couldn't use it because it was specific news outlets that we would get DMCA'd. But it was kind of weird because now they're thinking like the hypothesis was that flying reindeer came from this kind of myth because the mushrooms are red and white, very Christmassy.
Mm-hmm.
And what the local people found is that the mushrooms eaten by themselves are toxic to people.
So they're not the same ones that people do?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
They're not. Definitely not.
Okay.
These are more Nordic mushrooms than what you see in cow patties
'Kay.
fields here. So how do I know that? Never mind. So they would the local people would feed the reindeer these mushrooms on purpose, and then they would collect their pee because the reindeers would filter out all the bad toxins. They would start tripping, and then for the reindeers to get the hallucinogenic out of their body, they would have to pee it out. So then the local people would drink the reindeer pee to get the hallucinogenic effect as well. And then they would start thinking they could fly too with the reindeer, hence Santa Claus being born. So that's my two. I've got some other ones, some much deeper ones coming up, but that was interesting.
Would you try that?
When I am like 80, yes. I want to try mind-altering drugs when I'm old and useless.
Old seems like a crazy time to try that.
Because I feel like it would mess with my brain chemistry too much and like mess with me too much.
I see.
And I'm too focused on work and like I would want to be done with work. So that if I was out of commission for a month, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
So one day.
I would consider it.
LSD, acid, like
reindeer pee.
Oh. That would be like where I'd start. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. What do you have for us next?
Cats. Our local, our favorite, even recreational drug addicts.
Okay.
Cats, catnip.
Huge.
Do you know how catnip works?
No. I looked at it one time. I forgot though.
Okay, so cats and catnip, this is another thing. I talked about mistletoe last week, and it was one of those things that like everyone knows what mistletoe is. Everyone knows what catnip is, but I didn't know anything about it. And I was just like, wow, that's so interesting because I've never thought about it. I just know that they like it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you give your cats catnip. There's so many cat toys that come with catnip in them, whatever.
And they go feral.
Yeah, and they love it.
Yeah.
They love it. Catnip, this is what it looks like. There's a lot of species of catnip.
I grew this.
Yeah, you can grow
house.
it.
Yeah.
Like
it
for
goes
funsies.
crazy.
It's like kind of pretty, I guess. It's just like a green leafed plant. It has kind of spiky leaves.
When you cut it kind of smells like marijuana.
Meowjuana.
Thank you.
It's a plant in the mint family. It's native to southern and eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia, Africa. Wow. It's all over the place. But it was brought to North America by settlers. Cats love catnip. Evidenced here.
Nice.
By a cat rolling in catnip. Audio
Just
listeners, you're missing
full
it.
face
It's
into
awesome.
A bucket of it.
Yeah, they love it. Cats love it. So the plant contains nepetalactone.
Nice.
In the stems and the leaves. And so it's an oil in the stems and the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And when the cats smell the oil, they go feral.
All right.
They go crazy. They start rubbing their heads in it, their body in it. They roll around. They vocalize a lot more. They salivate. And they have this like kind of like altered state that lasts for 10-ish minutes.
Wow. Okay.
And all of these behaviors, Connor, what do these behaviors sound like with a cat? Rubbing their head and body into something, rolling around, vocalizing a lot, salivating.
I would say ecstasy.
No, not what drug does it sound like. What cat behavior? Like what cats do this?
Every cat I know?
Cats in heat.
Oh, okay.
Cats in heat. Catnip elicits a sexual response.
Oh.
Yeah. It's sexy time for kitties.
Oh, it's an aphrodisiac.
I think it's aphrodisiac. Is it DGac? I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's a sexual response to an artificial cat pheromone.
Oh.
Yeah. So like
that
if you
changes
give
up everything.
it changes everything. It's kind of freaky. So if you give kittens catnip, they will have no response until they're sexually mature.
That makes so much sense now.
Have you tried it?
It
And the
never
kittens are
worked
like,
at the animal hospital.
yeah, because they're just like, what is that? Who cares?
Oh my God. Every time a cat would come in that we wanted to calm down, we would spray like catnip on the table. And the older ones loved it. And we were like, hey, you're about to get some sexy time.
Yeah.
And then we would jab them with needles.
Yeah.
I feel awful now.
That's why, yeah. So if you try
Debated.
catnip with kittens, it's
I
nothing's
wonder why
gonna
it never
happen.
worked.
Yeah. Well, so also it doesn't work with all adult cats either. The response to it is hereditary for some reason. So it's like 70 to 80% of cats have the response to catnip.
Yeah.
And then the rest just like don't care. But yeah, so if you're giving your cat catnip, just know that it's kind of like a private thing and you should probably look away. Otherwise you're being really weird.
I didn't know that.
No, but it is good and it's enriching. Like
Right.
it's not people don't think that cats can really overdose on it. There's been a couple cases where it seemed like they've greened out a little bit, if you will, on catnip and then they vomit. But generally speaking, they can't really overdose on it. It's considered non-addictive. It's just fun recreational drug use.
Yeah.
Fun recreational drug
It only lasts
sexy
10
time.
minutes, so that's fine.
Yeah. And then after 30 minutes, they just become like immune to the effects of catnip.
Oh.
So like if you have like a bowl of catnip in your house, for example, right?
Yeah.
They can go in 10 minutes. They're like, whoa, and then after 30 minutes,
They're,
they
like, kinda
can't
done
be
for the
affected
day.
by it. And then they have to come back and get another hit.
But like, I feel like for our cats, it takes
They're
like,
just done for the day.
yeah, they're done for the day. And then like once it's been there, if we leave it there, they just never come back to it ever. You have to like reintroduce it. So, I wonder if they
Interesting.
feel like they were let down by the experience.
Well, now you
Cool.
know.
That's interesting.
Catnip.
Well, I want to give a little bit of context before we get into one of mine. So, inebriated. First thing that comes to mind is alcohol. So,
Yes.
the animals like alcohol. There's a lot of studies around it, and it's not just natural alcohol. It is people's alcohol. Like monkeys have been seen stealing cocktails. Elephants will steal rice wine. Granted, elephants like it like when it's sweet. There's a certain alcohol percentage level, like 4%. Anything over that, they won't mess with, but they'll get it under that. But there's like all these like clickbaity articles that like drunken elephants are stampeding through India, killing people. They're actually not drunk. They're just being mean and stampeding and killing people because they would need like 5 or 6 gallons of that rice wine to get them drunk, and they're just not they're not getting access to that. They don't drink that much. So yeah, they're just killing people to kill people. So
Well,
it's not the alcohol doing it.
I wouldn't say that they're being mean. There's probably a reason. There's probably being like defensive or territorial or something.
That's a whole nother episode about like human elephant conflicts that I'm decently familiar with. But no, I mean they're just looking for food. People are in the way. People are being mean. So
Right.
they've invaded into their space. So ethanol, the key alcohol compound that produced when yeast ferments with sugar in fruit, as well as grains and vegetables in nature, I should say. This has been readily available in nature for 100 million years that it's been around. People didn't start figuring out how to make alcohol until about 9,000 years ago. And
Stupid.
they learned about this from animals by following animals. That's how they found out about caffeine, like all these drugs. They like paid attention to animals, saw that they consumed like a coca leaf and got a high from it. So then people started to
I ate
experiment
that.
with those. You did?
Yeah. In Brazil.
What did
In the
did you feel
Amazon.
it?
No, I didn't know what it was because
Your mouth
he
go
didn't
numb?
tell me. Yeah. He gave it to me. He was like, this will make your mouth numb. It's in a vlog somewhere. He was like, he gave it to me and I just put it in my mouth because he told me to. And then he was like, it'll make your mouth numb. And I was like, oh, okay, fun, whatever. And then he was like, coca. And I was like, oh, cool. It really, I mean, my whole mouth was definitely numb. Kind of freaked me out. It took a really long time for it to go away.
Wow. So I should have drug tested you when you came back.
I would not have still been in there. And I spit it out.
Okay.
So.
Well, so when fruit ferments naturally, you're generally looking at a alcohol per volume level of 1 to 2%. We have a whole chart of natural fruits, grains, and vegetables, and what their APV, APV is. So some crazy fruit in Panama that are like super ripe can reach 10.3% alcohol. Your average beer
Oh my
seltzer
God.
is 5%.
Yeah, that's messed up.
I'm a lightweight.
He would die.
One of those I'd be out. So so there's been, baboons love to eat these kind of fruits. Moose love to.
Mises is correct, listeners.
Is it actually?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
I didn't know it was
God.
sarcasm. I was like, what? I've been making that up all along. The singular version of mises. Or plural.
No, singular. Singular is Mises, plural is moose.
There we go. Thank you. So I thought that was interesting because I'm a lightweight, but these bats are not a lightweight. Plius long-tongued bats in Central and South America. Producer, can you please bring up a picture of the bats? Very cute.
Oh my God, bats are so cute.
They regularly eat fruit with 4.5% APV. Regularly.
Oh my God.
And it does not affect them at all. A 2009 study found little difference in echolocation performance between bats that drank/ate the alcoholic fruit, and they had a blood alcohol content that would exceed the legal limit for people. And then they compared those versus bats that didn't touch this at all, and their performance was fine.
Audio
It was the
listeners,
same.
it was a picture of a bat on like what looked like a pear, but like one of the really cute fruit bat things. Like if you've seen those flying foxes, it looks like that, but a miniature version
Very cute.
hanging from a pear. I have a stupid question.
What?
When you say alcoholic fruits, so fruits that are rotten,
They're like extra ripe, and the
Extra ripe.
yeast or the sugar has already started to turn into ethanol.
okay.
So it's just like overly ripe. You'll have like cases of bears up in like Maine. There's like a flash freeze in the spring of like ripe fruit,
Mm-hmm.
and the freeze will like protect the outside so it looks fine, and the inside is just turning more and more into higher grades of ethanol, and then bears will eat it and they love it because it's calorie dense.
Mm-hmm.
Ethanol gives you a lot of calories, so they'll get drunk and then they'll do stupid things around people when they're drunk too.
Hmm.
So there's been lots of reported cases of that.
Okay.
So, kind of funny. So it's interesting. This is like there's only these South American bats, South and Central American bats can do this. Other bats out in like Africa will get into similar issues, except they run into people's windows. They just don't fly well, and it's
Sad.
just not good for them.
Yeah.
So why do these bats in South and Central America evolve to be okay with this? Probably it's like just other than that's like their main food source, and
I was
they
gonna
got
say,
to.
yeah, if they can't, that cuts out so much of their food source.
But there's so much more calories in
Yeah.
it, so that's a good thing for them. They're able to do it.
Wow.
So when Maya and I were talking about the segment, she mentioned that I probably should talk about the veterinary side of things when it comes to the most inebriated. And this hopefully you never have to encounter this kind of stuff with your pets. But I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of some of the common inebriation things that I saw as a veterinary technician of 5 years. So the first one is, Maya, do you know what antifreeze is?
Yeah.
It's in your car, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever
Hope
thought
so.
to drink it?
No.
Because it looks blue, purpley.
No. I know.
Smells a little
I
sweet.
know you're not supposed to drink antifreeze.
Okay, kids do it. So I didn't know if you were one of
And
those
then
kids.
they die, right?
You can solve it if
Oh
they
my god.
caught early enough. Dogs also love antifreeze, aka ethylene glycol. So
Awesome.
I probably helped treat 6 of these cases in 5 years, so
Oh my
it's not
god.
all that often.
No. He's thirsty.
In 2012, manufacturers started adding bitter agents into antifreeze, really to help like with the kid side of things, so they didn't want to drink it. But dogs, they don't really know if it works on dogs, and there's no good way to test if it would work on dogs,
Right.
because that's
Drink this
inhumane.
antifreeze, yes or no?
Yeah.
In a lab. That's crazy.
So a 1/4 teaspoon per pound of antifreeze can kill a dog, so not very much,
Yeah.
and they like love to drink it up. So watch if antifreeze leaks out of your car. Always pick it up, keep it out of the way. Like, don't let them get near this at all. So if your dog is exposed to antifreeze, they're gonna act drunk. They they get drunk. And within like the first 12 hours, you have a good chance of saving your dog. You have the best chance if you get them to the vet before 5 hours of ingestion. After 24 hours, it's not looking good because there's a lot of liver and kidney damage. So get it in quick. And do you know the old school method way of getting your pet, like the antidote to antifreeze?
To freeze them.
You get them drunk.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
You actually get them drunk. So this is the old school method, which is how we did it. Is we would get an IV bag. We test liver and kidney functions first.
And they put Hennessy in it.
We put vodka in it. a grain spirit, no additives, and the clear stuff, and we put it in there at a certain dilution, and they would be on IV.
Vodka IV?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. That sounds like actual torture technique.
And it wasn't like to where they got plastered, but they were definitely tipsy. Some were drunk.
Why does that help?
So what it does is it goes into where the antifreeze are combined or are on these receptors, and this alcohol comes in, kicks them out, and binds to it, so they can't add back into the receptors, and then it's just flushed out of the body. They just have to pee a lot, so we'd have to take them out to use the bathroom often. So take the IV out, and they're just like wobbling all over the place. We had to take like 2 or 3 people for the bigger dogs, so they wouldn't hit their side on the doors walking out.
Oh my gosh.
And then let them go pee. It was like once every 2 hours they were peeing.
Wow.
So it was quite a bit. And we had 100% survival rate for those dogs.
Wow, nice.
So it was really good. So today they have much better medications than giving vodka. Is way more expensive, but there's less side effects.
Yeah.
So don't just if your dog gets an antifreeze, don't just start giving him vodka. Take him to the vet. It's not that expensive to get it taken care of. And I do recommend for your pets, there are some good health insurance, like pet insurance.
Yeah, people don't know that.
It's I didn't know. I discarded or not, I disregarded them because they were bad 8 years ago when I looked at them. But now there's some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in maybe doing a deep dive one day on a separate talk on that. But anyway, yeah, you can pay like $20 a month to get almost everything taken care of for your dog.
That's very cool.
Which is really nice. So the other one, this one we saw a lot of cats and dogs getting into marijuana. So
This happens a lot.
it does. So first off, don't smoke around your pets.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to smoke, just do it outside. And please keep your stash locked up in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the end of the world if your pet gets into it, but it's a hefty bill. And it can be a big cleanup mess. So if they get into it, if they get enough of it, they could most likely pee and poop everywhere uncontrollably. They will get high as a kite. They will have the classic stoner face. And they won't be able to do much. I don't think they get munchies. I don't think I ever saw them get munchies.
Mm-hmm.
But worst case, you can have seizures that leads to coma or death if it gets bad enough. So it's just not worth it. I've seen people on TikTok get their cat or dog high as well with them.
Oh, that's
like during
awful.
a smoke out or something. It's like
Oh my God, ew.
It's just really bad for them. So once you take them to the vet, first off, just tell your vet straight up. They're not going to judge you. Just say, hey, it got into my stash. Not a big deal. So they know exactly what to treat. Like, okay, we're going to start supportive care, check liver and kidneys, just keep them on IVs, and just make sure they don't go into seizures, and just keep an eye on liver and kidneys. And supportive care for a day, and then gets to go home. So unless it's a bad case, then it can be longer. But it's really not that bad. So please, please, please keep your dogs, cats away from antifreeze and weed. So those are the two biggest ones.
Yeah, and if you don't, then you're going to have to go to the vet and say, hey, Dr. Parker, Max got into my doobies. And that's so embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I would hate to say that to a vet.
But you should say it to the vet if you do have to go to there.
Yeah, because then at least the vet will think it's funny.
We've had to do some like problem solving before, and like, hey, really like get them out. Like, did he get into your stash? And it takes like an hour.
That's so annoying.
To get
that would drive me crazy.
Yeah. Well, then we ended up spending extra money looking for tests for stuff that we didn't need to look for.
Yeah.
So just waste your money too. So I got two more. So these are short. So have you ever given your horse or any horses beer before?
No.
Have you seen anybody do it?
Yes.
So when I was a vet tech, we did some horse calls, and there was two people that we recommended that they gave Guinness pretty often, like a pint of Guinness to their horse. And we would come back and they had seemed to be better afterwards. The science is out this, it would actually work. In a picture here, a guy's given a horse Corona. I've always told to give Guinness because it has more calories, it has more micronutrients, more vitamin B, and yeast, which is good for them. Don't go start giving your horse Guinness, by the way. I'm not recommending that. Talk to your vet. But out in Ireland, of course, I would help out on the horse farm that you or the race horses that you got to meet. We would give them Guinness quite often, like the day before and the day after a race. So
wait, why? It's because it's just it's good for their gut?
Yeah, good for good vitamin B.
Okay.
So it's good for them.
Interesting.
So,
but they're not getting drunk or tipsy. It's just
no, they need a lot of it to do that. So science thinks there's like a slight calming effect too with it, but nothing major. Something to just take the edge off. And then the last, which is one of the weirdest animals I've met that will always want to get inebriated off of the weirdest things. His name was Mr. Gas. Meet Mr. Gas, the donkey.
Mr. Gas.
So Kayla and I met this donkey. There's actually a few donkeys, but this one was Mr. Gas in particular. Out at Ossabaw Island, which is off the coast of Georgia. It's a private island. And he would follow around the truck, sprint after the truck to huff the gas or the exhaust coming out of the truck.
That's so funny.
I can't find the video. I don't know where I put it, but he would just sprint after it and just stay along
I
the
get it.
muffler the whole time.
I love the smell of gasoline.
Well, when you'd fill up, he would like shove his nose where you're filling up gas and diesel
And
and
huff
just
it.
huff it. Not try to lick it, just huff it. They tried to push him out of the way, but like they struggled. And anytime there was campfire around, he was just like, smoke. I want smoke. Like any weird smells, he was like, I'm gonna do this.
That's so funny.
He was a fiend.
Mr. Gas.
Mr. Gas. He was very cute. We gave him lots of carrots, but
He would love whippets.
yeah, Galaxy Gas.
Wow. Well, guys, there's your world's most inebriated. Did you learn a lot today?
It was a fun time.
Fun time. Good suggestion. Happy New Year, everybody. Let us know what your resolutions are in the comments. You guys can share resolutions with each other, and we can all learn more this year. And get a little closer to nature. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, be awesome.
Cool.
Let's go get inebriated on the Patreon.
We're gonna go get inebriated on the Patreon, and we're gonna watch The Lion King for the first time. I'm gonna watch The Lion King for the first time. So make sure to sub to our Patreon if you haven't already. Thank you. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode.
Goodbye.
Bye.